Okay, so I'm going to start inside and go out. It's my passion fruit vine there. And lemon. This is my Lisbon lemon. I've already got some off of here, but it's already trying to make some flowers again for the next round. So I don't know if that means that it's too stressed, but it's about to go back outside. My bay laurel. And then my other citrus, and that is my lime tree, and this is my Meyer lemon right here, and nope, that's the other one making flowers. And then here are some seedlings. These are all my peppers that I divided up, so I'm gonna have a lot to share. I'd have some little tomatoes back there. See some bigger tomatoes in here. These are a couple of the cold season things that were small, and I was letting them size up. And then down here, my lights are probably going to come on in a second. Poppies, that's Nigella, artichoke. I got a couple different things in there. And that had to be cold treated. And then hollyhocks and poppies, and these guys, like, they'd started to germinate and had a humidity dome on them, and I took them off, and I guess I didn't keep them watered properly because they all kicked it. So this was actually just me intensely watering and keeping these little seed cups wet. That's the only one that's from the first batch of germination. Because all of the hollyhock wasn't coming up, and they do like to be soaked, and I did soak the seeds beforehand, but you know. So anyway, so I had more germination of hollyhocks, and that was really, I thought I might get, even though I did put a lot of poppy seed in, but I got more poppies too. So that's exciting. Okay, and that's everything in here. So we'll go outside, my little succulent corner. And I had to move my strawberry tower in the corner because we had a windstorm, a really bad storm the other night. Didn't want it to get blown over again. Need to find probably a better place for that. It's my tomatoes. I'm starting to harden them off, not to plant them, because it is the end of March, and our last frost date rather is April 15th this year, I think, estimated. But so I can move them in my greenhouse, because the greenhouse can keep them warm enough. I don't expect it to be that cold, and if it is that cold, I can bring them back in. But you have to harden them off for light as well as temperature. So chard in there. Nothing happened in here so far. Rose is putting on a lot of growth, so that's fun. A little bit of frost damage there. These are daylilies. And then I haven't opened up my greenhouse yet, so we'll see. Okay, and these are all guys that I'm hoping to get in the ground today, with the exception of this one. I'm not entirely sure if it's alive or not. These are hydrangeas I got for like $4 at Aldi, so if they don't make it, it's not a huge tragedy. Gladiolus that I bought last year and never got it in the ground, and I was like, well, we'll leave them in the pots. So they're already getting to the point where I probably should have put them in the ground, but it's been very warm very early, so do what we can do, you know? Dang it, alright, you get to see the greenhouse in all its glory here. Okay, Tradescantia, and these are two more of the hydrangeas. They definitely look better though. Amaryllis, a friend gave me, my boss actually gave me that. That is a French lilac. You can see it's a little wonky. I might, once it wakes up a little bit more, I might give it a haircut to try and correct its shape and maybe make a new one of those. We'll see if we can propagate. Some brassicas that I'm starting to get in the ground. Some of them are really pretty. They can handle a little bit of frost, and since it's been so warm, I'm guessing the soil is much warmer than it normally would be at this point, which would kind of protect them against any, frost unless it's super severe. I do have covers if it gets to that, so hopefully not. Again, more Aldi's finds. Those are clematis. There's a blue one and a purple one. They don't tell you the variety, so that's the bummer. But yeah, they look pretty happy for $4. Can't do too much worse, right? French lilac there. Black lace elderberry that was grown from cutting, that I keep debating whether or not I should pot it up and let it grow some more, or just stick it in the ground and let it be in its home. This thing I keep working around is a pomegranate. So Lutsky pomegranate. So I finally have a buddy for the pomegranate I've had for about 8 years that's out front. And these are figs that came off of it's our fig tree that had a big tree dropped on it and got split, and as we're cutting out the parts that were split, I realized these had roots on them, so I decided to let them see if they would do a thing. I'm not entirely sure. That does look like a little leaf nodule right there, and this one looked like it had one too, but I don't know. I might have done them a disservice because I potted them up and I gave them a little more room, and I probably should have just left them alone because they may be dead now. We'll see. And this is not the right way to do any kind of propagation either, but I got quince trees and I topped them, and I stuck them in the ground, in this dirt right here, and they seem to be pretty happy, so we'll see if that actually pans out. More all these goodies. They had dahlias and calla lilies, which the calla lilies are new, so I decided to pot those up and let them grow on. These are carrots, which you're not supposed to grow carrots this way, FYI, but if I direct seed them, they get eaten by slugs or roly-polies or dug up by squirrels. So this way, if I let them size up a little bit, I get something. And this year, I don't know, I've had trouble keeping the moisture even, I guess is the thing there. Callas and dahlias. Then there's our red cabbage. I've already planted out most of this tray. I'm a little bit early, but again, it's been so warm, I'm trying to take advantage. So that's more chard back there. Pak choy, you can see one of them is already starting to bolt. So it's part of the reason I was like, well, let's get them in the ground. So it's like broccoli, Brussels sprouts, that kind of stuff. And then, come out here, look around. I have already put some things in the ground, which is way earlier than normal. Cilantro, some lettuces, collection there, sweet Valentine, Lala Rosa, and then I can't remember the third variety. Seems weird, I'm just getting stuck today. Oh, see, I put these out yesterday. And already gotten attacked. So, what's gonna happen? But I have a lot of Brussels sprouts to put out. So we're gonna hope law of averages that some of them make it through. This is from the first round. I put out 4, and I did put them out way earlier than I should have. But yeah, you can see they're getting chewed up by something. So we have lots of things that are interested in my garden. And yeah, some kind of little critter there. I don't even know what that is. Probably something that will eat it though. Anyway, I knew I was definitely risking it. Everything I've seen says that you should put out the Brussels sprouts later, and I don't know how we work that in this area. Because I definitely see people growing, brassicas much earlier, and I feel like it gets so hot so fast. That was a blueberry right there. So it may be my mistake. I may be making a grave error and just need to wait on the Brussels sprouts and grow them closer to summer. You see lots of violets here. It's comfrey coming back up. Looks like we have a blackberry peeking up out of the ground. I made the mistake of chopping down my blackberries because we do have cane borers, but blackberries only fruit on second year canes. So at least Monty Don told me that. So we're going to trust him. And this is Amelanchier serviceberry. It also had a friend over there, but it failed, which, sometimes happens. I bought them as whips, and then, they'll be doing fine, and then one day they're not. And that little stick right there is theoretically a pawpaw. That's another one. I'm not sure it's going to wake up. I put that in last year. And I'm afraid it might have gotten dried out at one point during the summer when it was really hot. These are tulips, inherited tulips. So we bagged up leaves, and I don't know, rats, birds, raccoons have been all in them. So we'll see how that works. This is my asparagus bed, which seems to be working out pretty well. I've decided to dedicate this, my original garden bed. Used to be the only thing I had here. But yeah, this is all going to be asparagus, and I have a couple of pineberry plants in there. You can see my irrigation system I finished hooking up here, and the bricks are just sort of to help weight it down until it lays down enough. Muscari that kind of grows crazy, goes wild everywhere. And then let's come back around here. That's all muscari too, by the way. And see the rest. There's not a ton to see right now, but it's all starting to come in. Thyme and oregano. And these guys here, I think that's all muscari as well. That right there is chives, and these little guys are crocus, actually, that were blooming. And that is another crocus. That's actually a saffron crocus. And I put in pea sticks. The peas are starting to germinate. That is a beet, I believe. So there's little pea sticks. Red Brussels sprout. Red rhubarb Brussels sprout. Guys, and these are, you can see the squirrels in action there. So I'm assuming it's a squirrel trying to find the acorns, maybe. Brussels sprout, more peas, Brussels sprout, and then these guys, this is actually a dwarf snap pea, because those are, there's one, a snow pea, and then snap peas, and it's a dwarf one. Delphinium, I believe, naturally seeded. I have like 4 rhubarb plants, peach tree that I just put in, replaced another peach, and looks like these guys are trying to make some flowers, and anybody who's seen those know they're gorgeous. Oh, my hard kiwi is waking up. Look at you. Good job. Alright, I gotta check on the other one. The other one has not been as happy in its home, even though it's been there a lot longer. And it was also a casualty of Helene. These are more peas put along the fence here. Apple tree. I'll walk around this way. Show its Helene damage. It got a big tree dropped on it. And it was only a little bit broken, and I tried to fix it, and then volunteers came in to help us clean the yard and dropped another big branch on it, and which, perspective, I'm happy for the help. super happy. It's just a fig tree that got split. And so I had to replace this whole fence panel so it doesn't match the other ones now. And this is my original hardy kiwi right here that was all obviously attached to that and tangled up in the chicken wire. So it had to be cut way back, so it's definitely been set back. But yeah, so in this bed, so we have Brussels sprouts up there, the Long Island improved, rhubarb, and then in this bed is broccoli, and I have Romanesco and Chicchio, and I might have a Calabrese too. I started those, and I was trying to be so good about keeping things straight this year, and then I didn't. One year I'm going to learn my lesson. As you can see, some of them are getting eaten up a little bit. Pak choy, I put more of them in the ground because they prefer cold weather. So, well, I think my spinach didn't like coming out. That I think is garlic coming up. I'm pretty sure my rosemary died there. So, I know it's possible for rosemary to be perennial here, but I haven't found the right spot for that to be the case yet. Yedicule lettuce, something like that. It was actually a free seed from Baker Fink. Thank you, Baker Fink. So, onions, that's a bunching onion. Dill over there. These are cauliflowers, violetta and snowball. And some of them are doing pretty good, and then the ones on the end here, I don't know if it's just like, we do have birds that come in and sample, all those look like bugs, so I don't know. And that one looks like it's got something broken in the middle. Anyway, yeah, law of averages here. We're in a game of numbers. Just put out enough things and maybe I'll get one, We shall see. I don't have the ability to put out netting over all of this space. So, okay. Well, that's going to be a jasmine growing up there. Those things are just everywhere. It's my pawpaw. Oh goodness. Look at you. You look like you might be making flowers. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's so exciting. That would be the first year that it's fruited, if that's the case. Now, the bad news about that is that my other pawpaw is not awake yet. Hopefully their pawpaw is close enough to pollinate it. If not, we won't get fruit. Elderberry, there's my mushroom log that has never mushroomed, and my slowly deteriorating terracotta pots, where we used to live in a warmer place that didn't have bad freeze and thaw, and so terracotta was a great, all year, all the time thing. And here, if you have terracotta, you gotta move it in, and I didn't know that, especially at first. So my raspberries, looks like they've pretty much escaped the bed they were supposed to be in. Might just let that be, though, because we did have plans to eventually make all of this space bed. Blueberry, this is my original blueberry, and I believe this was also a $4 Aldi, but that means that you don't get to know what kind it is when you pay $4 for it. And I don't honestly remember this one either, but Blue Jay, one of those. Also a baby. Now this one is pink lemonade. I'm gonna stick in there. So it is, looks like leafing out. It's pretty happy. Good job, little plant. We did, already got flowers. Look at you. Look at you. Hopefully we don't have any late frost, because that's kind of what happened last year. We had sort of the same thing where it was so warm, everything started budding out and making flowers, and then we had a late frost and it all died. all disappeared. I shouldn't say died. The flowers dropped, which means no fruit. Okay, and this is the quince, one of the quinces I put in 2 weeks ago now. And then here's its mate. That was a Crimea. This is a caution. But they're looking pretty good so far. And a quince is kind of an unusual fruit, but that's kind of why I liked it. Also because it shouldn't get cedar apple rust. And then last thing, my peach tree and pink lady.